Yeah, yeah, I'm sure you did. Sorry. I just couldn't get over that I didn't take that trade, Omer, right? So I had to break the computer desk. This thing's brand new as well, man. Anyways, all right, guys, everybody, good morning. Good morning. It is November 14th. It is Hump Day 2018. And I'm going to be streaming just on YouTube for a few minutes. And so I want to make sure everything's going to be working. I had a little mishap here. The computer desk, it's a L-shaped, and I won't tell my wife what I was doing, but I had some weight on it, my legs, and it kind of snapped out of place, and so the whole thing just kind of fell over. And luckily, things are still working here. Don't put water on your desk. All right, so let's get started here. Let's look at the futures. We're going to start here on the ES. Currently up about 1350. This morning came into the LIS, which is kind of floating around here, just so you know. I mean, this is range bound. We're looking at a small candle here on 15 minutes. Overall, on the weekly, looks to be shaping up to be a drop-based rally. Remember, on Monday, we did come into demand. And that demand, how far that gets us, probably to about the 50, right, of the overall pivot high here. And we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. But far as this morning is concerned, we started this blueprint, before morning started, and surprisingly got a nice little bounce here off the cash close around 27.28 into 27.39. And today, my range that I'm looking at, working with is 2751 by 2712. If we could break out, hold a base here at 27.39, looking for the attempt up at 27.51, but would expect price to kind of turn around and just consolidate here. Now, if I'm pleasantly surprised, that's great. We're going to start the process over and need to hold above 27.51, and then we'll hold that base into the weekly LIS. Now, mind you, there's going to be a lot of lines on my screen when I go over to the daily and the weekly, but I just want you to get the gist. Here at Trendy Options, we are using kind of an intraday, but also understanding what the overall market is doing. Okay, so I drew this blueprint up just for today. These are our numbers. So once again, 27.39.51. Need to hold a base here in order for this higher low, higher high to continue up into the weekly line in the sand, which is 27.65. And today, line in the sand, the actual line in the sand from last night into today is 2721. We are leaving behind on a smaller candle, I believe a 5-minute candle. We do have some demand down here at 2712. Okay, so price does start to turn around, look for basically the line in the sand to hold. If not, we'll come down here and test 2712. Let's go over here to the daily. Okay, so on the daily, when I was checking it out last night, one of our members had mentioned that it looked like, we could be curling around, and at least getting up to the 50. And so, yeah, you could definitely see that this morning. My only reservation was that previous day candle was not a base candle. Okay, not a base candle as far as formations go. So anybody watching that's new would be like, huh? And so this kind of threw me off here. So this base is actually outside of this previous, but it definitely looks to be hooking, right? So if we're hooking here, what are we going to be looking at? Again, this is our previous range, or some people call it a swing. So from our swing high or pivot high to pivot low, I'd be looking at 50% of this previous. So if we go ahead and go up here to our previous high, to our pivot low here, looking for a 50, our 50 puts us right to our weekly line in the sand. Okay, so you get that. That's basically a bell curve of where we are right now. That's our target, as long as this is the hook. Again, looking for 2765. So for me, maybe SPX lotto. I would call it a lotto because anything on SPX I feel is a lotto, but it is aligned with technical analysis. Okay, so again, looking to see if we can get up into 2765. I'd expect in a down range that this would be our turning point to turn back down. Okay, and this could take another 2 days. Okay, today could line up to be a consolidation day. Let's see, remember here on November 2nd, isn't that a rally-based rally that it's bouncing from on the daily? Yes, yes, exactly. So that's exactly what that is, right? So that's what I'm saying. On Monday, we came into that, right? That's why we're starting to get the bounce, right? Now let's turn this into the weekly, okay? Now the weekly is shaping up to look like something a little bit different, right? So remember, we like the higher time frames better anyways. All right, so we have this nice drop, then you got a base, then you got a rally candle out of here. And so basically we're forming the drop base rally. We do know on the daily we came into a rally base rally and so forth. All right, and then we're going to line up our Fibonacci's and so forth, and then we see exactly what we need to see. Okay, so again, looking for the weekly LIS, which is going to put us at 2765. Okay. All right, so enough on ES. I know it looks a little messy here, but we are concentrating on the lower candle, but we understand the overall what we're waiting for here. Okay. All right, and there we go there. So once we open here, you can see on a 15-minute candle, we're leaving a little something behind here too. So if price does want to turn around, be looking for maybe a pop here at 27.32, 27.33. And let's go over here to our box trades that we set up. Now, word of caution here, the box trades were set up before the pop, okay? Doesn't really mean anything, but what I want to, as a disclaimer, talk about here is we have Apple left, Amazon right, lower left, MELI, and then we have CMG, okay? So each one of these I'm going to go over slower. I don't want to give a bunch of names because I think it kind of can get a little too much in the mind. Okay, so I just want to concentrate on fewer names and possibly for myself a little bit more money invested in some of these trades. Now Apple has went from red to yellow to green. I'm looking at a 5-minute candle for intraday trading, as in we know the bigger picture, but I'm looking for the perfect entry. Okay. So if you were to look at on a normal day, you'd say, okay, I'm probably going to go short up here on Apple. I have a box up here, right? So this is definitely going to be a caution area. But what we do know is that ES came into demand on Monday. And we know that the weekly supply and or the 50 is going to fall in around the 2765 area. Okay. And with that in the back of my head tells me that equities can still move quite a bit, because when we look over at the current price of ES being at 2741, we know that we still have about 20 points to the upside. Okay. How that translates to equities? Well, it means they could blow right through the box. So this morning going into this, these are going to be more or less target and or caution areas. Okay, so if you were in a call right now, or if you were saying, hey, the market's going up and I want to buy calls, I would just be hesitant, as in, can this area hold where I have boxes? Doesn't mean that I don't want to buy calls, okay, because we have targets. If we buy calls, our targets are going to be in this box 194.60, and then above this box, you're looking at pivot here at 198, and then you got a trendy edge up here at 199.85 where I'd expect price to not get through. Okay, by the time our prices get here in the equities to overall edges, we're looking at the ES coming into the 2765 area. Okay, same thing with Amazon here. This can come into a target now. 1655 being a target, 1671 being a target, and then we have a trendy edge up here basically at 1690, okay, on Amazon. Down here in MELI, I like MELI. Looks like at least on a 4-hour, nice turnaround here. It looks like it's hooking as well. I was hoping that the market was going to pull back a tad, if anything, to give us a nice entry on some of these positions this morning. You can see we have boxes down here below as well. Okay, this I was looking at shorting Amazon, but again, that's how fast everything can change, right? The accelerator on Melly, I'm looking, can this thing hold above, today my biggest thing is 323. As long as we're staying above 323, say we open up above 328, price dips down into here and can hold a base about 328.40. I like the accelerator up into 339. And then I have a T2 coming basically just under this. I don't want to use a hard target, say 354. CMG. So I love CMG. Should have shorted this yesterday. Tim, you were right on about this. Because remember, it fell below our edge, and our edge was here yesterday, around 489 or so. And once it broke that edge, it yesterday was so choppy, it was really hard. If you took a put, it would all of a sudden bounce on you, and then you felt like you're in the wrong position and so forth. And so you got people getting in and out and getting in and out of the wrong positions over and over all day. And then it finally broke down and now turned into resistance. However, if we take Chipotle, and so I just want to kind of go over these real quick. So if we take Chipotle and look at the bigger picture, okay, remember we set this out and we did really well on it the other day, is we had this bull flag forming, okay, and you can see this is perfect. And then we took the trade right here, right at the accelerator. It broke out into 502, and now it's starting to come around, and all it's doing basically is retesting that breakout area, which is nice. I'd love to see that. So now that you can see the bigger picture, look for these lines on the smaller candle. We can just go to 1 hour if it makes it easier for you. Okay. And you can see here, we are now coming back to retest that breakout area. What was resistance should turn into support now. Okay. Should turn into support now. So again, can replay CMG right here if we can get the move back down into the accelerator point, just kind of get a touch in there. But just below that is the midline. And we know that when price is above the edges, we're looking for bounces, okay? Just for scalp bounces. So if price is curled around and coming down to the 50, we want to see this hold. So therefore, my accelerator is at 482.45, but a stop is going to be just under the midline, probably around 478, whatever, risk tolerance is on that trade, okay? So that's CMG. Looking at Amazon, let's go to a bigger picture just so you guys can see overall what we're looking at. A little bit of consolidation going here, okay? And this was one of my concerns going into this morning, despite the small bounce here of 14 points. We're looking at, it looks like it's consolidating, okay? Overall, I still wanted to get priced down into the 1567 area. For Amazon, I felt like that was a really nice entry to get into the name, and now it's just kind of taking its time. If I look at it from a downrange perspective, it could just be flagging for more downside. Okay, and that would get us into, if we come over here to the daily. Okay. All right, this is our daily. All right, and we broke this. This is a nice short from here, and it's holding the trendy edge down here at 1616. If this does break, looking for the gap fill that we created out here on 1030. Okay, so again, gap fill coming all the way down here at 1541. Doesn't mean we have to fill the gap. It's just something I'm aware of when I'm intraday trading. Okay. And as of right now, if this is the base, if we put in a base, we talked about this yesterday, right? The dragonfly, right? People like dragonfly dojis or whatever. I said be on the lookout for tomorrow. Some of these names, maybe they created some, maybe it was a real base. Maybe we're going to hook from here and at least get 50% of that last range or swing high, swing low move. That's what we're looking for. So if that's the case, all right, if that's the case, for example, this would be, and let me just go ahead and draw for you real quick. So I know you love how much I draw. Okay, so we have our swing, as some people would call it. I call it a range. Okay, and then we start to turn around up here. And then we have this down. And if indeed this is a base, we look for it to base and consolidate on a smaller candle. And then we start to move up. Where do we move up? We move up 50% of this range. And we want to trade that into 50% of that range. Okay. And let's go ahead and measure that really quick. Okay, and so we'd be looking for an overall target into the next several days at 1699, 1700. Okay, so now if we come back over to the 15-minute, how does that jive? Well, right now I've built these boxes. This is yesterday's box trade, by the way. If you took this absolutely worked perfect for you, because not only did you get in at the box, you could have wrote it up to the top. I forget which one happened first. Okay, right here. So you went short here, down to the box, then back up to the box, and now we're just consolidating. You could use this range again. I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, you could use this range again for today. Okay, but we're going to go ahead and leave this right here and see how the market does. I was expecting first thing this morning when we opened was just because we're opening by the LIS and the cash close of the ES and the futures, it just kind of tells me the rest of the day is going to, we're probably put in a range already, right? So again, just keep that in the back of your mind. A lot of these trades for me, I only have two positions on at the moment. Um, I think it's two positions, might be three. But we have a GES vertical. I sold some puts, but I also have a put swing. All right, just kind of a little bit of protection there. And then overall, I got the Baidu swing puts, and I think those are into December and January. So we'll play this range, but all I'm saying today, this is my own opinion, all right? And that is, I wouldn't be surprised if we just have a trading range going into OPEX, right? Operations expiration or options expiration. It's very important that you understand that it's a pretty tricky week. So futures open up big, you look to get long, and then they slam it on you. Futures open up down and all of a sudden, the bid's up and then you're stuck. I mean, it's just all over the place. So just be careful. For me, myself, I'm trading very small during this week. And if things, hit the back of the fence, I'm happy. If I get an RBI, I'm happy. All right. But not looking for anything big this week, just kind of seeing if we can get some direction. Again, pulling back over into the ES, I believe, is my number one driver. Okay, it just has to, things have to happen in order for this to work. Okay, that's all I'm saying. So in order for any of this to work for me, again, need a base above 27.39 today. All right. Range expected 27.51 to 27.12. If we get 27.65, great. Then I actually start feeling a little bit more bullish into the rest of the week and into next week. But look, these things happen in patterns, right? 3 or 4 days up, 3 or 4 days down, right? So remember, pay attention to the weekly, pay attention to the daily candle. The smaller candles are for intraday and, precision, getting in and out based on targets. They can really help you out. If you're staring at them all day, you could end up making some very costly mistakes and then forgetting what your overall picture was for the week, okay? All right, some other names of interest, some names that have come into some place here. Still got Baidu. Obviously it's going to move. It's supposed to, you know. I hope so. And then so even though I have some long dated puts on this, I can play intraday for, scalps to the upside. For example, what are we looking for here on Baidu? Well, this one's pretty easy. The trendy edges are on here. Okay, we have this yellow line here. Let me just get some of this out of the way so you guys can see it. Okay, so your line in the sand is the bottom trendy edge, which comes in right here around 183.35. And then we have a mid edge. This would be your target. As long as we are making higher lows and higher highs, we're going to use the mid edge as the target, about 189. And if we can base above here, looking for a move into 195. Okay. If this breaks down, then this will turn into resistance, looking for T1 at 180 and then T2 here at 178. Okay. All right, so I'm going to keep it there. Again, just looking for these numbers, very important. Match this up with equities and look at our box trades this morning. Hopefully, can make whatever I need to make first hour, and then just be here for any kind of guidance or anything that you guys might want to know my opinion on. I'm here. Okay, so you guys have a great day. I will get back to it here just right before the bell, and so go enjoy your coffee or your kids or whatever's going on this morning. And I hope you guys have a blessed day and good luck trading. All right. Let's see here. What time we got? 8:22. All right, guys. I actually fixed my desk. That was like a total hazardous. Don't put your legs up on your desk, right? Not when you have an L desk that's connected. Jeez. All right, nice little rally-based rallies going here. Let's check out the 15 minutes. See what we got going on here. Nice little flag. You can already, like on a 15 minute on the ES, already start building a flag out here if you wanted to. I'm going to use the top of this wick here. And looking for my next target. Okay, it's going to be about right here. Okay. So remember, we're above the LIS. We are trending up above the LIS in a down range. And let's go ahead and get our box trades up here again. Okay. Now, will these boxes turn into support or will they be resisted, right? Here's the thing about futures, you get these big moves before the market opens, and big moves usually get you set right into some kind of resistance, whether it be your moving averages, your Fibonacci levels, your supply up ahead, all kinds of different factors here, okay? That's what the futures do. And then as soon as we open, we might pull back a little bit, maybe we fire up a tad, but typically they do this into a little bit of supply, and then you get spooked out after you buy right into the acceleration. What we like to do is wait for a pullback to get as long as we were trending up there. And see, for us, I had already built these boxes, an hour ago or so, and it looked a lot different. And now, as you can see, when we look at these, Apple's already made it up to the top box, where, originally I wanted to think about shorting. Amazon right into the box, right where I was thinking about shorting. And so this is where, as a trader, in my opinion, it makes it really hard because the momentum carries you, right? You're thinking, okay, market's doing well, we're going to keep going up. And you never know what's going to happen. The only thing I can do is resort to, I mean, honestly, if you're not a futures trader, or you don't know anything about futures, I cannot imagine trading without my futures vehicle. And if you're interested, please reach out to me. I'll be happy. A chart is a chart. I don't care what anybody tells you. Chart is a chart. Same methodologies that you use can be applied to any chart, whether it's Forex, whether it's futures, commodities. I mean, just whatever. It does not matter. All right. I like when people, ask me, hey, John, could you put this, on a Bitcoin chart? Look, it's not any different either, right? It's not going to change the way we look at things. News is just a catalyst that's going to move price to a candle formation or a Fibonacci that was already there. That's what's amazing about technical analysis. Okay. And you can see here we're breaking out of, and if you're into shapes, I'm not big into shapes, but I started incorporating them into just a little bit of my methods here just so I can relate to other traders. And so what I did was just go ahead and draw a little flag here. And what I like to do is, I mean, it's pretty straightforward: uptrend lines, downtrend lines. You want to pick a point that's going to basically encompass the most candles and so forth. And for me, on something like this, where I don't on a 15-minute, um, I think the picture is a little bit more clearer. I'm going to use this base candle. We have a rally base rally. This is some demand down here, and if price comes down into this, this is where I'd be looking to get long again. But for now, if we could break out of the flag here, again, bigger picture holding above the base, 27.39, looking for a target of 27.51, 27.65. Jared, I think you asked where did my 27.39 come from? That's a good question. Um, but it came from something cool. So if I come across here, let's check it out. So if we use the range, okay, of here, pivot high to pivot low, let's see if that matches up with anything. Yeah, you could see right here, it was the 618 of, yeah, I know it sounds funny, right? It was the 618, just a little bit below that or above that, somewhere in there. So again, you want to look at your swings, your ranges, pick which one you want to trade, and just kind of go from there. And again, how do you pick those? I think they're pretty easy to spot. Okay, and so you can practice drawing them if it helps you. This is a swing, this is sideways. Okay, here, here, here. And you got to pick which one do I want to trade. Price has turned around. For now, I wanted to trade this. Okay, and so that's what we're doing. So our 27.39.51 again was when we were down here. I want to know, hey, what makes more sense? You got to think like ATR, right? Average trading range, and you can think along those lines. I also want to correlate it overall. So check this out, Jared. If you look here, we'll go ahead and just wait here for a second. And you can see here, MELI is accelerating off of this little target here. We haven't opened up here. Just give it a second. All right, and you can see Apple came up into its upper box. Again, this is going to be resistance until it's not. They didn't even give you a chance here in MELI, but it's coming right up into our target right away. And Chipotle, let's see if it can move down into here. If we come back out of the boxes here, I may get short, we'll see. But then paying attention to the overall ES, still doing its thing. Looks like it wants to flag up into 27.51 by 27.65. Hey Jared, does it sound funny on your end or is it just me? That's great. So only when I have it plugged in though, right? Test. Hey, yeah, Jared. So my mic's giving me some issues. So I don't know if it was just me or the overall uh, the water that spilt this morning, but that first scalp was weird. I didn't set up a trigger bracket, and it set up automatically a trigger bracket. So when I went short, it put me in the trade and then got me out right away. So I had to re-enter. So we shorted Amazon into 1645 really quick. I should have made more than that. It's just 20. It was a scalp position, 20 shares. Roughly at about 36,000 or so. But looking to see if this holds. If it doesn't, maybe reshort it down into 1631. So apologize for that. So the computer's actually been doing some funky things. It's making sounds like I'm buying and selling, but I'm not. And so, I don't know if that was just something to do with the water. So for SPX, I'm going to give it this 2739. Want to see if this holds. Just going to leave it here. I did jump into some SPX calls and see if we can get the 2765 by today. Again, just waiting to see if this can hold here. And I apologize, guys, about the mic. I'll get it sorted out here soon, but gotta keep on trading. So basically, if we look at this pivot high, price is, bouncing off the 618. It's all good. Going to see if we can get above the 88.7 and hold some value up here. If we do, really looking good up here towards 2765. We'll see how it hangs here. If we break down there, don't forget we do have a little bit of demand right here at the 50 at 2733. And I could also come over here and possibly go short the futures here if this breaks down any further. We'll see what it wants to do here. Okay. So it's a good short on Amazon. Again, I apologize for um, the trigger bracket that was set. I don't know how that happened. So that's just, something I wouldn't think that spilling water on my keyboard would cause Thinkorswim to act up, but you never know. If I start buying like 20 contracts of the ES, just avoid that. That would be a malfunction. All right, guys. So our looks like our ES basing above 618 here, looking for a move possibly down into 2733. If it can, should get a nice little bounce from there. Hopefully, this is not the range for today, but we did talk about this into this morning, being that it could be range bound for the day. But again, need a base now above 2750 for 2765, and then any break below 2733. Not interested in anything long. All right.